What's happening? I'm JC Agajanian, and this is Jen DiJulio. We're teammates at the Whissel Realty Group, and today we're doing something a little bit special. We're kind of pulling back the curtain and sharing a little bit of a behind-the-scenes story to a really fun, really cool project we just wrapped up on a beautiful property that's super unique, and it had a fantastic outcome that we'll tell you about in a little bit. But Jen, this was really fun to work on. I feel like we should just take them from the beginning. Like, well, you were the first point of contact, actually. How did you first meet our seller and kind of get in touch before we really got together with her to help talk about taking care of this project for her?
Yeah, it feels like so long ago because it took us months and months and months to get this ready and then to be in escrow and close within 2 weeks, right? That's like the dream story. Yeah. So back up last fall, right, a few months back before we listed, we met the seller. As you know, she's this gorgeous older woman, lived in the community forever, raised her kids in this home. And this isn't just a regular home, right? It is an estate proper. It had 6 acres, which we learned 3 of them were usable. It wasn't just a gorgeous home that was built in 1925, but it has a guest house and a massive, basically like a private park around it. Yeah. And who knew that was even in San Diego? I had no idea. So when she called me, it was basically through our team lead. We normally get referrals from our past clients and our friends and family. I know that you and I, really, that's where it comes from. And so this one happened to be a team lead source. So I do love being on the team for these when they come through and you're like, well, I'm going to go meet this woman tomorrow. Yeah. And she really just wanted to check on her home evaluation. Like, how much is my home worth if I want to list it? That's really where I started.
Yeah, really unique. So like you said, a lot of times we have the luxury of built-in trust and understanding of who we are as professionals. But this was kind of a stranger at the beginning.
Shot in the dark a bit.
We had to go in and meet her and kind of demonstrate our value and our professionalism. And then we were in the property.
Yes.
And like first impressions, it was kind of overwhelming, right?
It was. I mean, like I said, what did you think when you walked into this gorgeous park? I mean, I know I was caught off guard the first time I saw that.
Yeah, there was so much to take in. So there was a bit of mystery because the majority of the property is veiled behind a large wall, and you can kind of see some roof line, but you really have no clue what lies beyond the wall. And then you walk in, and you kind of get that first day at Disneyland feeling. Like there was just so much to look around and take in. And there was the rose garden and the trails and then, of course, the whole house that like we hadn't barely even gotten into yet. And so it was just really beautiful, first of all, and amazing that in the heart of a very busy urban area, this was in Normal Heights, you could literally be walkable to Adams and all that street has to offer, but also at the same time get away into this private sanctuary that she had. So we had to sit down and meet with her, explain that we really are the people for the job, and then come up with a game plan going forward, right?
Yeah, and like I said, this woman was so beautiful, and she was a school teacher, so she knew the entire neighborhood, and this was an emotional sale for her. So sometimes we sit with owners that are like, hey, I'm ready to make a move like this season, like next month or 2. And then we meet with people like this owner that are like, man, I don't know that I'm fully ready to let this property go. And so we knew that there was a story here to really tell. Like we had to say, okay, this is emotional to her. This is going to be emotional to the next buyer and this family coming in. So this isn't going to be our normal marketing, right? Yeah. How can we do her justice and learn what this property is really all about? And then the beautiful part was she moved beforehand, which not every seller is in that position, but when you can or you are able to, then it gives us a blank canvas in which to market from, which I think helped.
That was really huge. And that's the reason we happen to have special programs for our sellers if they want to buy before they sell, to enable us to really maximize the listing process and also take the stress off the sellers of having to maybe move twice or shop for a contingent sale. Yeah. She didn't have to take advantage of one of these vendors that we have access to, but a lot of people don't even have access to that. So the ability to buy first and focus on the sale afterwards is great for the seller/buyer. It's also great for your listing agent team and to work on their marketing. And this marketing effort was not cookie cutter. This
No.
was out of the box, and it proposed some challenges to us. Like, we had to really figure out what message we were going to communicate. Well, first we had to figure out who we thought our end buyer was going to be.
Right.
We had to create this avatar in our mind, and we had lots of meetings and discussions about that. And then we had to figure out, okay, this is who we think our buyer is going to be. What are we going to say to them? How are we going to communicate to them?
Yeah.
And what's going to be the compelling message that says, this is the property for you? And we took a little bit of while, it took a little bit of effort, but we got there. And a little bit about what I said at first, I think the dichotomy of urban living and tranquil oasis retreat was really the crux of that message that we had to get across. And we created a whole plan around that. Our video pieces, our marketing pieces, everything was trying to communicate. Imagine if you could have it all. Like, imagine if you could have this awesome city at your footsteps, or quick
Walkable.
and easily accessible, but at the same time, not have to live in that sort of environment. You can have a completely different lifestyle every day just by going beyond the gates.
Absolutely. And I think some of the challenges with this marketing too was, like, she found a new home right before the holidays, right? So as sellers out there, it's always like, okay, what is the time that we're going to go on the market?
The timing.
Now, if I bought a home, I'm rushed. I feel like I want it to be listed next week. But in the case of holidays or certain, if there's something in the, in the environment with interest rates or something that just changed.
We happen to have one of the slowest fourth quarters
Yes.
in a decade or two.
Yeah.
So we advised her, hey, let's not launch right
wait.
before the holidays.
Just a little bit. Let's wait.
So the logistics were part of the marketing challenges, but we also ran into lack of data. We couldn't pull quick and easy comps.
No, there are some properties out there that are so unique, like this one, obviously, but even more that maybe are not in estate size, but just nothing else is out there quite like it. It leaves us as professionals to do our absolute best to say, how can we get the most eyes on this property, but while still not cutting it short, because there is nothing like this, and not knowing the ceiling. And I think that now, looking back on the story, that's the fun part about this, is we had people who kind of maybe doubted where we were going to be at, including
100%.
ourselves, of where was that ceiling? Like, where's the real value for this property?
It was uncertain. And for, homeowners and potential sellers at home listening, like, for us professionals, the most certainty we can have in assessing value is like with a condo or a townhome or a planned development where we have
community.
Straight up model matches, where we know the floor plan and the square footage is identical, and we really are only adjusting on the fine tuning of things. We were on the complete other end of the spectrum with this property. I mean, there was not anything with half the acreage that this property has, let alone the entire parcel. The house size, the age of the home, the type of the home, all these things made it really challenging just to comp out in price to begin with.
Yep. But I think that's part of the fun, is why you lean on agents, because we're not all created equal, right? So when I sat down with her in the beginning, and that's when I went to my team. That's why it's like fun to take on listings even more than just an individual, because what we could collaborate together, and then what we leaned on our media team to really create, and taking the time to do it right, I think all of those factors really led to a different outcome for sure.
Absolutely. And not only did we have a fantastic team behind us helping us, but we also reached out to other people that we trusted and said, hey, what do you think about this? This is where we feel this property ought to be. And some people gave us advice that kind of went in line with what we were thinking as a team, and some people were kind of off. And we went with what we thought was best, and it turned out really well. So that collaboration was a huge part of really making this happen. And I truly feel if we didn't have the team behind us, I've been a broker with my own shop and nothing but one assistant before. And I know that when I was in that position, I definitely would not have been able to pull off what we did as a team, not just you and I, but all the people helping us. We've got an amazing marketing team here. So
our media team went like above and beyond for this one. And we have, levels when you're above a certain price point, they'll pull out more stops, which they should. And so it took us more time to kind of stop and really get this video right that had like over 15,000 views.
Yes.
And so I really, I'm grateful for the media team and what they can lift us up to provide our sellers.
Yeah. And in coming to the final conclusion, like this dichotomy of tranquil serenity and city living was what we were selling, that you really can have it all. They just came alongside and they got it and they ran with it, and they helped produce some amazing video, photography, and print pieces that were, I think, instrumental in
Absolutely.
communicating how special this property was.
And I don't want to fully jump to the end. We'll get there, but the family that came through, which was literally day one that we were live on the market, right? We had a coming soon campaign, so we'll touch on that too, like what is really the value add of doing that? Because I think we did it right. We really caught agents' attention. So by working with the media team, getting really clear about who this freaking fairy tale home is for, right? Like who, it's like the secret garden you walk into. The family that literally walked into it, it was like exactly what we pictured in the media. So it came to life.
And we learned later that it was something they'd been looking for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Which is just wild.
It's a win-win all the way.
But yeah, so once we had our message, we had our idea of who our end user was going to be, who that avatar is, of our buyer, we had to go about putting things in place. And so before we even got marketing, because we had this extra time to work with, we were able to include the community that this home was in with some of our normal outreach efforts. Like we regularly will do food drives and clothing drives for the community, and we said, you know what, let's go ahead and include this community because we know we're going to be putting a lot of time and energy into this community in the near future. So before we even got to marketing the property, we were giving back. Like we were knocking on doors and we were picking up clothing and food.
We went out at the holiday and we said, okay, after the clothing drive, we're going to pick up your Christmas tree if you want. And we knew that we were going to come live on the market about a month later, right? But we do this every year anyway. So we included them. We got tons of trees. We had a blast. We filled up more than one truck. And then we literally had people walking through the open house being like, hey, Jen and JC, I think you guys just picked up our Christmas trees, right?
That's right.
So that was really fun to see it come full circle, that they remembered us even from a month or two ago.
Super cool. So yeah, we're kind of able to add to this community something we're doing already to create more awareness, and then kind of prime the pump for some of the marketing efforts that we did.
Yeah.
So from
Made
there,
it easy to invite them to a party, right? So
there was a lot.
The exposure piece, we started with the agents with the Coming Soon campaign. It's like a teaser, if you will. If you have time to do it right, I think it was about 8 days, the Coming Soon, about a week before, but enough time where agents were seeing this and calling us right out the gate.
Yep.
And then to not allow showings yet, it's kind of like building up that red carpet event, right? So
Absolutely.
I was talking... The unveiling. Several agents were calling us saying, when can we get in? And we're like, not yet. So how we really laid it out, day one, was brokers open, going to the caravans, pitching this to agents, especially when it's a unique property, because we really needed to be on a megaphone getting it out there. So then this family came day one. And so having those brokers come through in the morning, having an agents-only party, making it really fun for them to experience. We had some pretty awesome music going throughout the grounds, so we felt like you were in a soundtrack. Just the little touches, right? The food, the music, touring. We had multiple agents really killing it on touring people properties so that we just properly, so we didn't just let them wander.
The special parts about the property far and wide.
The story.
In there.
Yeah.
So we had the broker's caravan pitch, right? So all the agents that work that area, we went and we told everyone about the property there. Then we had that broker's caravan. People came through. Then we had another event that same day that we simply marketed and invited agents from all over the county, not just the ones that work this special area. And then we had 2 more events, actually 3 more events that weekend. And all of this was preceded by postcards in the mail, door knocking through the neighborhood. We have flyers dropped or door hangers dropped on doors. Specifically to the neighbors, we wanted to bring them out, and they were so grateful for us opening the place up. There was several people that lived within doors and blocks of this property. I've lived here for 25 years. I've never seen behind the wall. I lived here for 35 years. I've never seen behind the wall. It was like a huge block party.
78 groups through in like 3 days.
Just wild.
And one day was rainy too, so we would have had even more.
So we did the broker's piece the first day. Then we did something special for the neighbors only, and we brought them all through. And we didn't make it open to the public. This was just an event for them.
And then taking it back even a step further, before we even had those agent parties, we had a party just for our agents on Team Whissel, right? Because we have 120 agents. So we held a media day.
That's right.
That was a huge success, kind of when we were still nervous about the price, right? There's certain homes that we want the feedback on. We want to know, what do you think about the price? What are your favorite features? What do you not love? what are your clients going to think? Several of them had clients looking for it. So we had a huge party with professional photography for them. So they got to create their own reel and social media video about this seller's property. So instead of just me and you posting it, you then had 60 agents putting it out there, which was beautiful.
So yeah, and going back to that neighbors only, one of the reasons we do that is not just to get the looky-loos out of the way before the real buyers come through the public open house, which it does help, that's a thing, but a lot of times people that already live in the neighborhood may be renting and want to buy in that neighborhood, or sometimes they might have a friend or a family member that they would love to be one of their neighbors, and that's really the reason that we do these neighbors only, is because you never know what's going on right under your nose when you move in to take a big job like this. So it worked out really well.
It did. It was, I think it was such a fun, like you said, it was a block party kind of feel for the neighbors to see this fairy tale home. They might have been a little too slow to move their friends and family in because somebody wanted it more.
Yes.
But in the end, the outcome is something that was beyond what we could have imagined.
Let's talk more about that. I know. We met the agent for the buyers at the broker's open. So right away they were on it. And he actually brought his clients with him, even though that was mainly intended for agents only. But they were super eager. And they saw it that day. And they were in love, and their agent contacted us, I think a day or two later, and wanted to sit down and said, hey, we are serious about this. And it was just so crazy that these people were essentially who we had envisioned as our end user, as 100%. Our ultimate buyer of the home.
Yeah.
They were just in love.
And there's different kinds of agents out there and communication, right? And that's part of who, when you hire a team, it's got to be people that you trust to choose the best team forward to come through and not just maybe be the highest offer or the best terms, but get it across the finish line.
Yeah.
And so, again, it matters that this agent was calling us day one of coming soon, shows up the night before, really, and really put it all on the line of how much this family was in love with it versus having a poker face. And if we would not have had that information,
absolutely,
the outcome wouldn't have been the same. Right?
And we wouldn't have responded the same way. We wouldn't have advised our seller in the direction that we did if we didn't have that communication from the agent.
Yep.
And what's most important is, even though we love their price, we love their terms, they were cash buyers.
Yeah.
It was a short close. But almost equally important, maybe a little bit more important, is their passion for the property.
I think so too. And that's where the when you sit down and really say, who are we marketing this to, instead of just blanket marketing, is really the theme and the lessons I'm taking away for this one. Because we literally imagined this family. They showed up. They made it how clear they wanted it, especially with all the things that they would take on as an older home. We really had the confidence that this wouldn't get derailed in the middle of escrow, which is important too.
And not only taking on, because the home had been pretty well maintained, but also just the pure acreage.
Right.
I mean, the tree trimming on
the
an annual basis, the water to keep them green. Like, there's a lot of stuff.
You're getting a landscaping crew that you're inheriting, right?
Yeah, so we had to make, and that's the thing that we weren't concerned about them coming across something in a home inspection and being chased off. Like, these people made it very clear they were in love with the property. And so above and beyond the price, the terms, the timelines, that intangible is sometimes something that you can really only lean on your listing agent for, because you don't have the experience of selling hundreds of homes over the years. Like, we've had these conversations over and over and over, and we know these people are going to cross the finish line for you. And that's what happened. It was a very smooth, quick closing, and there was no drama.
No. The only drama was they said, can we close early so that it lands on Valentine's Day? So we had to scramble a little bit quicker, but that's a great problem to have. Like, it's pretty much a dream, and we imagined that we would be marketing a lot longer than we did.
We honestly didn't know what sort of market response we were going to get. We were prepared for something similar to what we got, where it'd be real attractive and sell right away, but we were also prepared to have to carry this and put efforts out for 1, 2, maybe 3 months.
Yeah.
Because it was a large home at a price point that was significantly higher than the comparable homes in the area, just because it's so much more property. And so in the end, we ended up, well, let's back up. We didn't tell you our list price. We came on at $3,250,000. And our sale price,
150 over ask at
That's right.
3.4 million. So you're welcome, Normal Heights. We just smashed the records.
Literally setting records for the zip
And-
code. Oh, not the whole zip code, because Kensington is involved.
Kensington's
in that.
different,
Yeah,
but Normal Heights is this little area tucked in with pretty beautiful average type homes, and then there's this cliff edge with these dreamy homes that now we know that they're there.
Yep.
And we found the perfect buyer that is not going to let this home go anytime soon either.
Absolutely.
So happy families.
I know. It's such a great outcome and a really fun story that had some uncertainty on our part. We really had to work through it, seek some advice, and get our bearings. But once we did, we kind of charged forward, and boy, what a great turnout.
And collaboration was the theme for this one for me, is like how much more we could do together and with our media team's magic to really launch this the way that it did. So if you know anybody that could use this magic, reach out to us. We're here. And thanks for listening to Behind the Veil of the Wizard of Oz of Normal Heights.
Thanks for watching.